That'll do it. Sun is up, the drinks are hot, and now it's time for our first cup. Today, it's not done. So, I set a new personal record this morning. See, usually on the days that I record First Cup, I'll take a walk out by the ocean and I'll go through a few different recordings of what I think I'm going to be talking about that day. I usually kind of make it up like when I start walking out the door. And for most episodes of the show, that means that I end up with three-ish recordings, usually two or three, uh, in my voice notes, and somewhere between 40 and 45 minutes of thoughts. I come back, take a shower, make some coffee, let it all kind of condense, and that gets crunched down into like the 10 minutes that I share with you. This morning, though, 5 recordings. 5 recordings. And I think it was about 95 minutes of thoughts. Massive, huge pile. And yet, not a single one of them is going to make it into this conversation that you and I are having right now. They're just not ready. The data are there, the facts are there. That part, that part I'm sure of. But it's the story around those facts. It's the meaning that just wasn't clicking. It wasn't all falling into place. There's like a beginning and an end and a middle-ish, but yeah. It's like a beginning and an end in search of a middle, and the middle is the most important part for this particular topic. Just wasn't clicking. So anyway, I decided, just not going to do that. But then I had another problem. What was I going to talk about? Hmm. And I thought about a bunch of different things, right? Like, um, I was a teacher for a long time, professor for a long time. I think anyone who's done those things or who's had to, who's performed in front of an audience, I think all of us have a couple of stories in our back pocket. A few things that we can just kind of throw out there when something goes awry, when the projector doesn't work, when your computer eats your PowerPoint or whatever, right? No, that's not First Cup, right? Like First Cup is about being slower and smarter. It's about being kind of real. Uh, Canned stories just don't fit, unless there's a reason, right? Couldn't do that. And I'm not the kind of person who, for this show, is going to create like a massive like content backlog. Um, yeah, I record these, and then they're up on YouTube and everywhere else like less than a day later. Like they're always very present, which is what I want the show to be. And then it occurred to me what I want the show to be: being present, being smarter, being slower. I know what I got to do. I just got to be honest. Best laid plans of mice and men and all that. You know, like, because while I was thinking about all these things that I could have spent this time talking to you about, kind of wrap back to this idea that has shown up in my life a lot in the last month or so, and that's doing work with integrity, right? Now it's easy to get caught up in the idea that doing work with integrity just means turning it in on time or whatever, or making sure that it's in on time or to whatever spec. But that's not doing work with integrity. Now, doing work with integrity is doing the work right. And doing work with integrity also means that means that doing the work right comes before turning it in, publishing it, putting it out there, whatever, right? And I know that can be really hard to hear and really hard to think about for a lot of people, especially in a world where, I don't know about you, but so much of it feels dictated by deadlines and this group of needs and these pressures and, these external pragmatic reasons and these internal reasons or whatever. But the simple truth of it all is that integrity means doing it right. And that also means that if the time comes when you're supposed to turn something in or when you've got a deadline, which, by the way, let's be clear, deadlines can be very powerful. They can be very important. Those pressures can be important. They can be powerful, but they're not where the meaning, they're not where the utility, they're not where the value of the work lies. No deadline is more important than the work being done. It means having integrity in what we do in our work means that sometimes we just have to be straight up with ourselves, with whoever we're doing the work for or with. I mean, sometimes we just have to say that if it's not done, then it's not done. And that's okay. Hmm. No. Please remember that no matter what you've heard or what I've said, death comes for us all, and a closed mouth never gets fed. I hope that you create space in your life to do your work with integrity. I'm going to do my best, and I'll see you next time.